Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Planes, Trains, and Comic Books channel. My name's Matt, and today we're going to review the manga Fist of the North Star Volume 1. But before we get into that, if you guys wouldn't mind sharing, subscribing, all that good stuff, we are still running our 100 subscriber giveaway. All you need to do to enter into that is to comment down below and make sure you are subscribed, and you will be entered to win a Comixology gift card. So if you are interested in that, just do those two things, and we'll get you answered. Let's get into this masterpiece of a manga. I'm going to say right away, this manga is in my wheelhouse. Loved it. It was fantastic. It is more of a classic manga. It's from the 80s. It is written by this guy named Buran-san, who I heard, I'm not sure if this is true, but I heard that he's a Japanese guy, obviously, who liked Charles Bronson and named himself Buran-san. So I was like, that's badass, because he's into those badass characters. And then the art is by this guy named Tetsuo Hara, and art is fantastic in this book. It is like crazy. One cool thing I liked about it is the bad guys, depending on the situation, or even the good guys, people, depending on what's going on, are either gigantic or small or whatever. So, like, for instance, there's a bad guy who is like holding a little girl hostage, and we know how big he is compared to her, but when he picks her up, it looks like Godzilla's holding, or like King Kong is holding her in his hand. So he looks like gigantic, which is interesting. So it's kind of like an interesting art style. Some people might get confused right away when they read it. There's things like that. There's also like when the main character's in some prison, the bars get like see-through, and that makes kind of a like, at first I was like, wait, is he like phasing through the bars? But no, he's not. It's just, that's what it is. So they just want to make sure you can see his face, kind of thing, while they're talking. So it's kind of an interesting approach to art. I haven't really seen that too much, but apparently that's kind of common in manga, or at least manga from that period. Yeah, so, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start at the beginning, all right? First things first, this world is like a post-apocalyptic Earth. Something has happened. Nuclear war has killed everything on the planet. Water is scarce. You're basically looking at Mad Max. I mean, we're talking Mad Max world, but instead of oil, it's water that everybody's looking for. And just like Mad Max, motorcycle gangs and warlords rule the desert. So, they're terrorizing people, they're enslaving them, just the regular people trying to live in this new apocalyptic world. And so one day, we first get introduced to the bad guys just to set up the Earth. So we see like this motorcycle gang. They drive up to some people that are part of their motorcycle gang that apparently have gotten beat up. And that guy, the main guy in that, his name is Zed. And he's like the first main bad guy we see. And he's like, what? Who has done this? And they're like, we don't know. He was some wanderer, and he killed him or whatever. And so we see what happened is this dude, it looks like his head just exploded from the inside out. And they're like, what? This doesn't make any sense. Like, how could one man do this to all these like people? Because there was like a bunch of bikers. So then we cut to the mysterious man walking in the desert. And his name, we find out, is Ken. And he is like a wanderer. He does good where he's, wherever he ends up, kind of thing. And then he moves on to the next place. It doesn't seem like he has a mission, at least at first, in this volume. I don't know if he's got like a higher calling or something that's gonna like peak out, but it seems like he just wanders, and eventually every time he comes to, they need help and he helps them, kind of thing. Kind of like, I don't know, Kung Fu or something like that old TV show. So that's the introduction of like Z, the first big bad guy, who's kind of like the motorcycle head guy. Ken walks into a town and he gets caught in like a net because like the townsfolk have been sick of Zed and his biker gang terrorizing them, and so they set all these traps up, and Ken gets caught. They think he's one of them. Now, also Ken, he looks so badass. He looks like a mix of Mad Max, of that leather jacket, the tight the tight leather pants, all that stuff. But then he's got like some armor and shit on too, so it looks a little bit more hardcore. And then he just got like the buffest fucking body ever. And his jacket, there's no shirt underneath. There's just a leather jacket that goes down all the way down, just showing his chest off. And he's actually got these scars on his chest that are in the shape of the Big Dipper, and they look like bullet holes. So he just looks super badass, super like, I am ready to follow you anywhere, sir. And of course, he's kind of like the strong, silent type. He doesn't talk that much. And you might be able to see him behind me. We got the awesome. I don't know what kind of haircut that is, but I wish I could have it. It's pretty amazing. But yeah, he's just a badass all around. So he gets captured by this village. They throw him in prison. They're like, "You're gonna pay for what you did," and then he's like, "I'm not part of this or whatever." But they don't believe him. And then we're introduced to two children characters who kind of come about later on in the book. One of them is named Rin. She is part of this town, and she is like manning the cells. So like, she'll like bring the prisoners water and stuff. And Ken is he's thirsty. That's all he cares about. He's been walking in the desert, and he's like, "Water, please, water." And so she actually brings him some water, and he's like, "Thank you so much." And then he realizes, "Wait, you can't talk. Why can't you talk?" And like the other little kid that's in the cell actually with him, because he's arrested, his name is Bat. He is like, her whole family got murdered, and that's why she doesn't talk. Ever since that happened, no big deal. And then and then it's like, oh, possibly I shouldn't have said that out loud, kind of thing. So he's kind of like a loudmouth. This is the first time we kind of see Ken's powers, but he knows a martial art called Hokuto Shinken. And I mean, it seems like a martial art, like we see later on. It's very, very useful in fighting, but also it's got like a mystical side, because he just like puts his hand on this girl's head and he does something to her, and she's like, "What?" And then it like lets her be able to open up and like talk and stuff. So it's weird. He like releases her of her fear and all the bad shit that she was going through in her mind with the martial art. So then Zeed is like, "Oh, let's go attack that village." He rides into the village, and the villagers like, "Oh my god, we need help." And Ken, he's like, "No problem." He fucking kicks the cage open, the prison open. Bat is like, why didn't you do it the whole time? Like, I was sitting here with you. We could have been out of here a long time ago. And Ken just walks up to these guys, and he hears like Rin calling out for him, because Rin apparently was outside, got captured by Zeed. And this is where I was saying, this guy just picks her up, and it's like she's King Kong, or she's like the little girl in King Kong's hand or something. He looks gigantic, whereas before he just looked like a normal human, or like maybe above average human, but still just human sized. And yeah, so Ken walks up to them like, "Oh, who's this guy, huh?" And he like starts squaring off and everything. And you're like, "Whoa, shit, he's gonna do some martial arts or whatever." And he just fucking roundhouse kicks these guys in the fucking face. There's like 4 guys in a row, just bah, 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 bah. And then like they're like, "Huh, that's not too," and then their heads explode. Like it seems like there's like a delay, right? He like punches someone, and part of the martial art is the whole fact that they don't know they're dead, but they are. They're still talking, but they're already dead. And so that happens a lot in this, where he will punch someone, and they're like, "Huh, that doesn't feel that." And like their whole like body explodes. And yeah, this is a very graphic, violent book. So he's definitely killing a lot of people, exploding their heads, exploding their bodies in horrible ways. So yeah, he kills like all these guys. And then Bat is like, "Hey, I want to go with you." And so Bat starts following him as he leaves the town. The townspeople are very happy that he killed these people, but then they're also like scared, because they're like, "Well, what if the king, gets mad and thinks we did this or whatever?" And he's like, "King?" He's like, "Yeah, there's a king, and he lives in this town called Southern Cross, and yeah, he like controls these motorcycle gangs." And so Ken's like, "All right, well, let's kind of walk that way then." So he starts walking that way. Rin stays behind. And basically, the kind of middle of this book is him moving towards this area, but also running into more and more difficult bad guys, or at least they look like they're more difficult. But then he'll take them on until he gets to these 4 main like disciples of the king. They're called like the Aces Club or something like that. They're actually like clubs, spades, diamonds, and hearts, and each one gets like progressively harder. He fights them. As he's fighting them and taking them out, he finds out more about this king. And this king is actually a guy named Shin. And the second someone says Shin, Ken is like, who? You know of him? Where is he at? And so like obviously Ken knows who Shin is. And he goes to kick some ass. So he finds out where Shin is, and Shin, it turns out, is like the yin to Ken's yang, we'll say. So they even say that like for every yin there's a yang, for every north there's a south. So like if he's the fist of North Star, Shin is the fist of the South Star. He's got his own martial art called Nanto Sinken. And so that's like, similar to, or it's like another type of martial art where he just can kill people without them knowing, but like his hands and stuff can go through their bodies. So it like a ghost kind of almost. He'll like go inside you, crush your heart, and pull out before, and there won't be any blood or anything in your chest. And then you're like, oh, my heart, I'm dead. And so he's got like a different style where like he'll kill you from the inside without you knowing or whatever, but like you don't explode and all that stuff. Whereas Ken, when he punches you, you're still dead from the inside, but you explode outward. Now we like don't know exactly what's going on. Like why does Ken hate Shin so much? So we find out a little history between these two. And what happened was Ken had a love named Yuria, and apparently Shin beat the fuck out of Ken and stole her from him, and then took her to live in his castle that he like conquered with his martial art prowess or whatever. So and we see that whole fight scene. You see how he beats Ken. It's a pretty badass fight scene where, Ken, we've seen him just kill everybody that he's fighting, and, with no problem, really. I mean, there's a little bit of struggle sometime, but for the most part, it's just he's kicking ass, killing people exploding. And in this, you just see him, he's younger and he's getting his ass beat. He's like, this dude like took out his tendons and his ligaments and his knees and his arms and shit, so he couldn't move. He like paralyzed him, and then like we find out that the symbol on his chest, those scars, are actually not bullet holes, which is what they look like. They're actually, this guy just walked up to him and pushed his finger into his skin all the way into him. So those are like finger holes that healed, which is super fucking weird and creepy. And he did it in that same like symbol, which is like, it looks like the Big Dipper. And so yeah, it's like in a weird star formation. And so yeah, that's like the setup. I'm not going to spoil this last battle because I don't really want to spoil the whole book for everybody, but I did skip a lot in the middle. So, I want you guys to buy this. It's a really, really good book. It just came out, like it just got printed, reprinted in these nice hardcover volumes from Viz. And they're only like $19.99 or even like $14.99 on Amazon. So not very badly priced at all. And I believe it's the first 2 volumes collected, like the 2 softcover volumes. So definitely check this one out. I'm going to give this one 4.5 stars. Had a blast. The story was simple, but in like a fun way. It's like a Dragon Ball kind of thing where it's just this tough ass guy killing people in fun ways with his martial art. Oh, also, one of the best things about this, I thought, was every time he did a move, he would like name it, or he had like a name for it. So like he would kick and the 4 people would get kicked, and then he'd be like flying tiger foot claw technique or whatever. And like he would have a name for it, and then like their heads would explode or whatever. So he just had like a name for everything he did, which I thought was fun. Like hunting crane beak technique or whatever. And like he'd like hit someone in the face with his finger and then their head would explode. And so it was pretty awesome. I just liked this whole feel of it. I love like the Mad Max look, and that whole aesthetic was very cool. Obviously, the guys in this, kind of like Berserk, was very Hellraiser based. This was like all the bad guys were very Mad Max based. You could tell, a lot of them were inspired by the costumes from specifically Mad Max 2. That whole like the Road Warrior look was very much an influence on this guy's art. And so very cool though. And with that, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and enter that contest if you'd like. And we'll see you on the next one.